as a Zumba.
The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Good evening, this is TV1 News. I'm Mary Silla Kelaton.
And I'm Rex Lita. Join me in the Bulletin for Sports.
In this edition, forests agree on conservation efforts, Community Affairs Expo underway in Leh, and Lahanis to meet Miox in Grand Final. The streets of Leh flood during heavy rainfall because they are clogged up with rubbish discarded by city residents. Leh MP John Rosso raised this issue after seeing numerous comments regarding the flooding in the Top Town area last week. He said drainage is clogged up by people who have no regard and just throw rubbish on the streets. He continued that road and drainage reserves have been occupied by people who have obtained land titles over these reserves, hence the Leh City Authority is unable to access them to work. The LCA stated that Leh builders are providing specialized plumbing equipment and expertise to clear the clogged culverts in the town and market areas. While Rosso is working on recouping drainage reserves, the public is urged to use common sense when disposing rubbish as engineers look at redesigning the drainage systems and ways of preventing trash blockage and clogging. The Papua New Guinea Forest Authority and Total Energies Limited have signed an agreement in a historic moment for PNG's conservation efforts. The agreement will facilitate reforestation and afforestation efforts. On Tuesday, August 22nd, the Papua New Guinea Forest Authority signed a pioneering cooperative agreement with Total Energies Limited in a historic moment for Papua New Guinea's conservation efforts. PNGFA Managing Director John Mosoro said the agreement includes vital provisions for Total Energies Limited to provide extensive support to PNGFA, particularly in the areas of training and energy efficiency to get the tree plantations up.
The cooperative agreement itself paved the way for PNGFA to be the champion in work towards securing land for reforestation and afforestation, planting of trees in our grassland in the country, and with the cooperative support and the undertaking by Total Energy to support PNGFA in terms of training. An important area is the training. In terms of providing the necessary support, energy efficiency to get those plantations out.
MD Mosoro expressed gratitude to Forest Minister Salio Waipo for the unwavering support and thanked Total Energies country manager for recognizing PNGFA to pioneer the project.
Another item which is also part of the Corridor project is in terms of biodiversity, because part of the project is to work in the preserved area top of the section to help together jointly to protect it and to protect the biodiversity, the very rich biodiversity which is still there.
Meantime, a nature-based non-binding agreement was also signed for PNGFA to go into other pilot projects with Total Energies. Meantime, the PNG Forest Authority has received a check worth 300,000 kina from the Western Highlands Provincial Administration as a payment to supply power poles to roll out its rural electrification program in the province. The acting provincial administrator, Joseph Mangibal, at the PNGFA headquarters in Port Moresby presented the check to PNGFA Managing Director John Mosoro on August 22.
We are looking at the Highlands region to look for land to plant trees. Because we're not going to rely on our normal tropical virgin forest, natural forest, but we're going to plantation now. We intend to bring our regional office from Goroka to Western Islands. It will happen once we get the organizational structure done. We will officially move the regional office to Hagan. Since I am being the acting administrator for the last 9-10 months, and the new governor, we're trying to bring confidence back, and we're trying to get all the national agents operating in Hagen, including PNG Forest Authority, IRC, MVIL, Fire Service, NBC, and other very important national government agents operating in Hagen. And PNG Forest is one of the big department that is operating in Hagen, and we now, our administration and our government is committed in working with the PNG Forest Authority.
Hidden Valley Mine has begun maintenance on houses for police personnel in Bulolo and Wau, Morbe Province. Lawrence Sipala, Superintendent, Local Content and Agriculture, said HV recognizes and hopes that its contributions to development in the region will contribute significantly to their ability to serve and protect the community effectively. The housing maintenance project, initiated under the banner of Hidden Valley Mine's corporate social responsibility efforts, seeks to positively impact the communities surrounding the mine. By providing upgraded and well-maintained housing for police officers, the company is directly contributing to the overall safety and security of Bulolo and Wau residents. Staff and students of Lutheran Day Primary School in Medan ended their week on a high note with Book Week performances themed Read, Grow and Inspire. Even though celebrations were a week late, it was an opportunity for trainee teachers from Medan Teachers College to have hands-on experience in organized school activities. The delayed Book Week celebrations for Lutheran Day Primary School in Medan ended well for staff and students. In-school head teacher Benedict Balang encouraged students to read more books so that they can build their vocabulary and increase learning about people and places. Trainee teachers also put up a short performance on the book Think Big by Dr. Ben Carson, who taught himself so much by reading books. Dr. Carson also went on to become one of the world's top brain surgeons. Ramsey Ossi, practical teaching coordinator with Medan Teachers College, stressed that students must also take ownership of their learning, and they can do that by reading more books. Meantime, students from grade 3 to 5 dressed up as popular book characters and paraded their costumes to an elated audience. The upper grades of 6 to 8 paraded in various outfits for various professions and shared how books inspire them to get good grades and be the professional they aspired to be. Grade 7 student Fridelin Borski gave an observation of the book week at his school, saying that reading books boosts learning. TVWAN News continues after the break. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Want to know to win a Scale Rice Matchy Pack? Scale Rice is giving away hundreds of really scale prizes for that Scale weekend. Prizes include over 200 Scale Rice Nambi set, over 190 Scale Rice Eskis, 44 JBL speakers with 2 wireless mics. To enter, buy any Scale Rice or Ori Rice product, write your name and contact details at the back of the receipt, drop in the entry box. There's 116 winners fortnightly, 16 promo locations and 4 fortnightly draws. Time to solve.
More details in store or follow us on our social pages. Terms and conditions apply.
Papua New Guinea. We love a reason for a family gathering. A reason to play. A reason to ignite the flame. A reason to cook the best with the best. Flame Oil, now PNG made for PNG cooking. Flame Oil, winning taste.
Hiya, Mama.
You eat them, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magic kakaro, get up and big smile on face. Time for kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, da mumu, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
Open it.
Australia's favorite chef is taking you around the world to meet amazing people.
Teach me how to make this one.
Experience delicious food.
Bon appetit.
And discover the most incredible flavors.
Yum. Nice.
This is a culinary expedition on a budget.
50 rupees. That's a deal. Whoa.
Cheers. Around the world with Mano Fidel, a brand new series coming soon on Outdoor.
On the ground, the Fijian. Kebalo, oh, Butterfingers there out of the hands of Dotty. You've got to be careful. He's up. Ramos in the corner.
Tasmania is Australia's smallest state, lying about 240 kilometres south of the mainland. Join me on my journey through this beautiful island state as I experience the produce, people and culture that makes this an unforgettable island.
Welcome back. The inaugural Community Affairs and National Content Conference and Expo started this morning at the PNG University of Technology in Lae, Morbe Province. As of this morning, over 800 participants have registered for the three-day event. PNG's first ever Community Affairs and National Content Conference and Expo was opened this morning at the PNG University of Technology by the Managing Director of the Mineral Resources Development Company, Augustine Mano. The theme for the event is promoting national participation for sustainable communities, with over 830 participants registering by 10 a.m. today. Prime Minister James Marape said the theme is appropriate when the government is now formulating an overarching PNG national content policy for resource sectors. He outlined that the conversation of taking back PNG is incomplete without capturing the benefits of resource projects that are harvested in our country.
We don't want to grow GDP elsewhere. From every resource that is harvested in our country, we want it to have a cascading effect into growing our GDP in our country. And a greater conversation is about optimizing and maximizing local content in any space and capacity. And I am happy that the Chamber of Mining and Petroleum have allowed for this conversation right in the face of the next huge wave of new world-class projects that are descending upon this country, especially in the mining and petroleum sector.
The Prime Minister pointed out that PNG's economy is largely underdeveloped and the bulk of our population live in poverty, challenged by geographical, cultural and political barriers, because the assumed distributions idea has not taken root in this conversation. That is why the government must do its best to realign the mining and petroleum industry so they can restructure the national content requirements better. He believes addressing national content is the best way to readdress the distribution of benefits.
Past is past. We need to converse beyond the past and converse into the future. Converse beyond just discussions of royalty and tax and into optimizing value chain of every resource project in our country. That is why I make no apology with anyone in 2019 when I pronounced that we must take back ownership of our resources simply put, to not do so.
The Department of Information and Communication Technology has copyright claims over the filming of the book A Matter of Conscience, Operation Rouse Him Quick, authored by retired Major General Jerry Singarok. A purchase agreement plus option agreement was made between the department and the retired General Singarok to develop film and other digital content products from the book. During the check presentation, ICT Minister Timothy Masiu said this was done to promote education, unification and democracy, maintain cultural heritage, combat misinformation and guarantees that information is shared in the interest of the public. A purchase agreement plus option agreement was made between the department and the retired Major General to develop film and other digital content products from the book. According to the ICT department, Masiu is working with stakeholders to promote national icons through content on the country's 50th anniversary. This program is called the National Icon. For the first time, ICT ministers from around the Pacific region gathered today at the APEC House in Port Moresby to hold the Pacific ICT Ministers Dialogue under the theme, Smart Pacific, One Voice, Creating a Digital Future Together for the Pacific. A grand welcome dinner was held last night to officiate today's meeting.
The inaugural Pacific ICT Ministers Dialogue was held today. Host Papua New Guinea welcomed delegates including ministerial heads from the Pacific Islands Forum member countries and territories under the theme Smart Pacific, One Voice, Creating a Digital Future Together for the Pacific. A welcome dinner was held Sunday evening to officiate today's meeting at the APEC House. Pacific representatives who joined the PNG delegation came from Australia, Fiji, Republic of Kiribati, New Caledonia, New Zealand, Niue, Republic of Palau, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Kingdom of Tonga, and Republic of Vanuatu. PNG Minister for ICT Timothy Masiu said the aim of the dialogue is to forge a bond of unity and collaboration. He stated that the diverse and unique nations are bound by common threads of challenges, opportunities, and aspirations. Through digital technologies, they collectively possess the means to bridge divides, create opportunities, and amplify a collective voice on the global stage.
So happy that all the Pacific Island nations are represented in this meeting. I'm particularly pleased to also thank my dear Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, for gracing us in the welcome dinner last night, and of course the Deputy Prime Minister for attending the opening and officially opening our meeting.
Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso shared the Prime Minister's call to align with the Pacific Islands Forum overarching vision of leaving no one behind. The two-day dialogue will end tomorrow, August the 29th, 2023. Secretary for the Department of Information and Communication Technology, Stephen Matainaho, emphasized that the ICT department has been aiming to hold such an important meeting with its regional neighbors.
This is not something that just popped up, but it was an initiative primarily by our Honorable Minister Timothy Masiu when he attended the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference back in, I believe it was September, October in Romania. And one of the things that was noted, and he highlighted in his speech, that there was a need for unity and a need for a strong voice.
The dialogue had sessions diving into policy statements, multilateral context, current status of ICT development, and embracing digital transformation in the Pacific, and ended sessions with a Lagatoi declaration on digital transformation in the Pacific. Jasmine Jack, TVWAN News.
Meantime, the ICT ministerial heads headed to KVN for a social event program. The second part of the Pacific ICT program takes stage in the provincial capital of New Ireland Province. After the Lagatoi declaration at APEC House, they were chartered by air to Bilas Palace. Minister Masiu said the program in KVN is to showcase PNG's cultural diversity. It includes a visit to the infamous Ilfa.
I want to bring all my colleague ministers. They are very hardworking, and most of them need a break. Not only that, but also to socialize with the people of Papua New Guinea. And this time we have chosen New Ireland Province to be the host of our program, which will be tomorrow. I have a team on the ground right now in New Ireland, and we are communicating with them. The stage is set for New Ireland. We'll be taking them to a village called Lasigi and witness the shark calling in that village. And then we also visit the eels at Larabinai. And then after that, we will be returning back to Mosby to wrap up our 2 days of gathering here in Papua New Guinea.
Discussions are underway for a potential partnership between a local farm owner and PNG's real estate mogul Jeffrey Kennedy. The collaboration aims to support livestock farmers with cattle and pig pregnancies along with supplementary feed from Kennedy's rice mills. After successful cattle shipments, LDC aims to extend their support to other livestock, including piggery. Kennedy's integrated farming approach employing cropped stubble and rice bran has shown promise. LDC's Managing Director Terry Coim sees this partnership as a progressive step for industry growth, emphasizing collaboration's importance. The initiative benefits span from local business to PNG's overall industry growth. Cattle from the recent shipment are thriving, and the breeding program shows potential with a healthy calf born during transit, adding to the second shipment's total of 165 cattle. And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2770 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2695 US dollars, 0.4180 Australian dollars, 0.2421 euro, and 38.14 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed higher, the rest closed the day lower, and on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. You're watching TV1 News. Stay tuned. We'll have news from abroad when we come back.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Hey, you want to talk? Want to win one of 4 Costa buses? Simply collect 6 SP Lager red promo caps and enter the draw at a participating store near you. There are heaps of other great prizes to win too, like SP Hunters jerseys and other awesome SP Lager gifts. So enter the draw today for a chance to win. There's a bus to be won in Islands, Southern, Momase, and in New Guinea Islands. SP Lager, Bungi Mumi!
Quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier but you like it more.
From the rich soils of the highlands, the finest coffee has been grown by generations of Papua New Guineans. Expertly blended and roasted with over 80 years of experience, making the finest cup of Nescafe New Guinea blend. PNG's own coffee.
Beauty is my business. But beauty sure is a tough game. Filters are great, but great skin, better. And that's why my skin deserves the best. So I choose self-care, soaps that gently nourish my skin, resulting in a radiant look, made with tropical ingredients. I trust self-care from City Pharmacy. So bring it on! My skin is ready and so am I.
Chef Scott Laseth is cooking up the world's creepiest critters.
You with me? No.
Iguana, hagfish, and wild boar are just some of the items in this season's menu.
Let's eat. And eat. And eat. It's nothing like you've had anywhere.
Hey, dead meat!
Dead Meat. First and exclusive in Asia. Streaming now on Outdoor.
The stage is set for the biggest talents in the men's game.
How do you like that?
4 pools, 20 teams go battle for the ultimate prize. Catch all the action right here on Digicel TV.
The Knights loving it. The Katomi Stakes. Oh, Thompson!
Welcome back. In regional news, as part of the Pacific nation of Vanuatu plunges into a political crisis, China has reacted by rushing its so-called police experts into the country. China's move comes hot the heels of a Supreme Court ruling that observed that the pro-West Prime Minister of Vanuatu has lost a no-confidence vote in the parliament. According to the ruling, Prime Minister Ismail Kalsaka will have to step down. If there is no appeal or it is rejected, Parliament would vote for a new Prime Minister. Opposition leader Bob Lohman, who is considered pro-China, brought the no-confidence motion against PM Kalsaka last week. He lodged a petition reprimanding the government for entering into a security pact with Australia. Vanuatu finds itself at the epicenter of a strategic rivalry between China and Western nations in the Pacific Islands. 3 U.S. Marines have died and 5 are in a critical condition after an aircraft crashed during an Australian-led joint military exercise on the Tiwi Islands north of Darwin. A rescue operation is underway, with emergency services working to transport the remaining personnel on board the Osprey to hospitals on mainland Australia.
A military exercise ends in tragedy on the Tiwis.
Our thoughts are with them and their families back in the United States and want to reassure them that we'll give them that care.
23 US Marines were on board an Osprey aircraft when it crashed near Pikataramore on Melville Island, sending emergency services into action.
This is a difficult incident. We're responding fully, and our priority is on providing every assistance possible.
Helicopters and aeroplanes have been in full force, transporting patients with the National Critical Care and Trauma Response Team triaging on the ground.
Right now our focus is getting them from a very remote location to hospital at Royal Darwin.
The incident putting the hospital under significant strain, even forcing other patients to relocate to free up space.
We have declared a Code Brown at Royal Darwin Hospital. A Code Brown is a management tool within the health system to acknowledge an external incident will have an impact.
The Marines were participating in Predator's Run, an annual exercise involving 2,500 personnel from the US, Australia, Philippines, Timor-Leste and Indonesia. But only United States personnel were involved in the crash.
The Australian Defence Force are cooperating with our friends in the United States Defence Force to make sure that we provide every assistance possible.
Exercise Predator's Run will be paused while emergency evacuations continue, and a decision on if it will resume will be made at a later date.
The United Liberation Movement for West Papua has responded cautiously over the Melanesian Spearhead Group's surprise denial of full membership at its Leaders Summit last week, welcoming the communique while calling for urgent action over Indonesia's grave human rights violations. In a statement released by President Benny Wenda after the second United Liberation Movement for West Papua Leaders Summit in Port Vila, the movement said the MSG had misinterpreted its founding principles based on the inalienable right of colonized countries for independence. Wenda hoped that the MSG chair would honor its commitments urgently given the grave human rights violations on the ground in West Papua. The Northern Territory's mining laws are once again being thrust under the spotlight as once-in-a-generation reforms are proposed. As the territory looks down the barrel of a critical minerals boom, the industry has raised concerns. More red tape and uncertainty will turn investors away.
Often described as flawed and shrouded in secrecy, the NT's mining laws are facing big changes.
The current regulatory regime for mining is an absolute dog's breakfast,
leading to legacy mines, billion-dollar rehabilitations and major environmental disasters. But new laws of the land have been proposed, galvanised by traditional owners and activists who've pushed for better regulations, even taking their battles to court.
We welcome these reforms. They're once-in-a-generation mining reforms to fix what has been a thoroughly broken system.
Environment Minister Lauren Moss has applauded the draft bill, with proposed changes including moving regulatory responsibility from the department that's tasked with promoting mining to the Environment Department. A new licensing system is on the table, as are new powers for the minister to impose mine cleanup requirements. But the proposals raised concerns for an industry already dealing with a cluster of challenges, like land rights legislation and a lack of infrastructure.
There needs to be certainty of what the rules are, what the processes are, how long it's going to take for their businesses to get off the ground.
A lack of detail the industry is worried will create uncertainty for investors.
For example, in some of the provisions that have been drafted within this bill, there are mention of review processes, but it isn't clear what the triggers are going to be for those review processes.
This will not create uncertainty. This actually creates certainty and will improve the social licence of the mining industry, which is abysmal.
While activists say these stronger regulations are long overdue, they couldn't have come at a better time, as the territory faces an escalating boom in mineral exploration. That could mean more mines across the territory, which environment groups say need proper regulations.
Campaigners say South Australia is set to play a decisive role in the upcoming Voice referendum. The Prime Minister will announce the polling date in Adelaide this week. But some First Nations people in one remote community say they're not convinced by the proposal.
1,000 kilometres from Adelaide, Oodnadatta is one of the most isolated places in Australia, and one of the community's advocates hope will benefit the most from the proposed Voice to Parliament. But residents in this remote corner of South Australia are sceptical.
I see it on TV being advertised. I see a lot of communities all walking around in T-shirts saying yes, you know, like what are you saying yes to? We don't know.
Some locals in Oodnadatta say they don't see how the proposed constitutional change will help them.
It's just only for the town people, town Aboriginal people. It's no good for us, I don't think.
Oh, I'd support it, as long as I see what happens with smaller communities like this here. Not only this place, but other smaller communities that haven't been sort of touched by funding-wise and all that kind of stuff.
As polling day draws closer, campaigners on both sides are pushing hard to swing the votes of South Australians undecided about the Voice, with the state viewed as a crucial battleground and crucial to the Yes campaign's hopes of getting over the line.
It is the most important state. It's the state that really sends a signal to all of the other states about what the progressive reform is.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is set to travel to Adelaide on Wednesday to announce the date of the referendum, in a clear sign of the importance of South Australia to the result. But those on the no side are encouraged by polling suggesting support for the Voice has dropped sharply in SA.
It's risky, divisive and it's permanent. I'm not surprised that more and more people are sceptical about Voice.
There's only one poll that counts, and the poll on referendum day, and I believe we are heading to a successful result.
For the referendum to be successful, it will need support from the majority of voters nationally, as well as the majority of voters in at least 4 states.
Back home, the Lagatoy Declaration is a new step into a more collaborative digital future for the Pacific. The declaration booklet signed by the 13 Pacific countries will be the first ever for a well-connected region and to strengthen partnership and regional arrangements.
In collaboration for a digital future for the Pacific, ICT heads and ministers of the region signed the Lagatoy Declaration at APEC House today. The declaration booklet, presented by the local motto and dancers, was signed by representatives of the 13 Pacific countries. It will be the first ever that illustrates a well-connected region and strengthen partnerships and regional arrangements. Papua New Guinea's Minister for Information and Communication Technology, Timothy Masiu, emphasized the importance of the dialogue and how it aligns with the 2050 strategy for Blue Pacific continent.
So far, I'm as Minister hosting this important dialogue. I'm very happy and also very positive in the way things are going. Very good comments coming in from the ministers themselves. And this is an avenue that the ministers in the Pacific, they can share their own experiences. And of course, there's never been any time before in which the Pacific Island ministers of ICT meet to discuss their own issues and, of course, share some of the predicaments that they face and, of course, the way forward.
The Lagatoy Declaration acknowledges the development and digital transformation. Varies in the Pacific commends the activities and initiatives led by Pacific countries and territories, reaffirms commitment to the ITU Connect 2030 agenda, calls the next ICT ministerial dialogue, supports the work of various existing regional governance and calls on the IT, APT and other development partners to strengthen engagement and presence in the Pacific region. The next Pacific ICT Ministers Dialogue will be in New Caledonia in 2025.
And we need to be, in the Pacific, need to be very, very careful. We need to look after ourselves, and so that is one of the reasons that why we are having this meeting here in Port Moresby.
Jasmine Irujak, TVWAN News.
And that ends the news segment. Sports is next. Stay tuned.
Hey, can I get a Virginia?
A what?
Morning King?
Tiny.
The green one?
It's in the highs and in the lows. It's in the big things and the small things too. It's hard to put into words, but you'll know it when you see it. Terrain Tamer, when quality counts.
Are you ready to meet the best version of yourself? The one with the bright, confident smile? You've got to take pride in how good you look, how fresh your breath smells, and how great you feel. To boss it at work, to be your best for uni, or to catch the eye of that special someone. You've got to brush up your vibe with whiter, healthier, brighter teeth. Brush up for confidence with Colgate.
Great news! The Digicel TV app now has radio. That's right, your favorite radio stations are on the Digicel TV app, providing you with even more entertainment, plus free streaming of all your favorite radio stations. And you don't need headphones to listen. The Digicel TV app gives you the ultimate entertainment experience on the go, with more drama, more sports, more exciting movies, and now more radio to stream your favorite programs from wherever you are in PNG for free. So what are you waiting for? Download the Digicel TV app today for the ultimate entertainment experience.
Through the Community Grants Program, civil society organizations can apply for grants of up to 50,000 kina, which are focused on delivering development projects in line with our funding priorities. Applications are now open. Applications close in September 2023 at 5 p.m. For more information, visit foundation.digicelpacific.com.
Well, folks, after literally years of negotiation between the fan and the management of Steve Menzies, we have secured the great man for the show. Welcome to the Fan.
This is all going through my head, and then all of a sudden he passes it back. Oh, my God.
Today we have enlisted the help of Panthers co-captain and superstar halfback.
When you've kicked it well, you usually know, and especially on the chip kicks, I usually know.
Thanks to Nathan Cleary, invaluable insight for the fans out there, for the kids out there.
Hi and welcome to Adventure All Stars, the travel show with a difference. Every episode features authentic cast members travelling to secret locations. They don't know where they're going or what they'll be doing as they uncover the best and most exciting experiences on the planet. Prior to filming, the stars of today's show raised vital funds for their nominated charity, and their reward is the trip of a lifetime.
Everything about this trip has changed my life.
It's really hard to put it into words. It actually gets me quite emotional.
You just have to trust that everybody has your back. You will have the best time of your life. Everybody should do this.
Real people, real emotion, real adventure. This is Adventure All Stars.
Welcome back. In light of media speculation on PNG's participation in the OFC Under-23 Men's Olympic Qualifier in New Zealand, the PNG Football Association is not panicked but remains calm to learn the penalties from the FIFA Disciplinary Committee. President of the PNG Football Association, John Capinato, said PNG's participation in the FIFA-sanctioned tournaments would not be terminated. Capinato was responding to media speculations that PNG would be heavily penalized for not making it on time for the FIFA Under-23 Olympic qualifier against New Zealand and possibly miss out entirely on the tournament. Capinato said there is definitely going to be penalties for not turning up at the tournament on time, and that is up to FIFA to decide on that. Capinato added that PNG Football Association is ready to hear from the FIFA and the penalties, but at the same time prepared to give its account on the cause of the issue, which resulted in not making the tournament in time. Capinato said the cause for failure to send the team will also be investigated. Pending a judiciary decision on the matter, the PNG Football Association president said PNG will still be participating in the OFC Men's Olympic Qualifier in New Zealand. The team has already fixed their passports and will play in their second match. PNG was due to play in the tournament's opening match at 3 p.m. on Sunday, August 27, 2023, against New Zealand at Go Media Mount Smart Stadium. It is understood that issues with visa and passport protocols prevented them from getting there in time. Washout games for the National Youth Soccer League Southern Conference witnessed 3 exciting football matches on Sunday at the PNG Football Stadium. From these 3 matches, the top of the table encounter between Central Amoana FC and Hekari United FC was heartwarming. Central Amoana FC walked away with extra 3 points. The 2 top teams in the National Youth Soccer League Southern Conference put up a strong show to prove their dominance in the league. With both teams bagging goal for goal, it was the boys from the Papuan coast, Central Amoana FC, who came out winners, thumping their opposition 3-2. The Central Amoana came back from a 0-1 deficit in the early half of the game to go into break 2-1 over Hekari United FC. They returned and finished off the match with the grandstand finish 3-2 to disappoint the Red Army. Amoana FC continues its winning form, proving that it can match with the best teams in the league. Hekari are expected to bounce back next weekend from this loss. In the opening match of the day, Kempa FC proved too strong, beating South's Aporo FC 6-2 in what was seen as a one-sided match. Kempa have done well so far and are up there with Hekari United and Central Amoana FC in the competition. FC Genesis and Port Moresby Strikers rounded up the day with another entertaining match to conclude the triple header. The match ended 0-0. With was-out matches completed, competition heads into round 7 this weekend. It was the icing on the cake for the Bintango Goroka Lahanis when Emerging 5'8" Roger Kenny delivered a well-executed 20-meter field goal in the dying minutes of the extra time to cap off a nail-biting 19-18 victory over Lae's next Tigers. The Eastern Highlands franchise will now face 2018 Cup arch rival EPG Enga Miox in the Saturday's Big Decider.
Two perfectly matched teams and worthy to be real grand finalists put on a spectacle for their fans and the whole rugby league community. It had a touch of everything, class, passion and emotion, and played in true sportsmanship fashion that went beyond regulation time before Bintango Goroka Lahanis picked their moment to pull the trigger. Lae's next Tigers had it in the bag 18-12 and could have closed the deal with only minutes before full time. The highly contested finale, played in front of a packed stadium, kicked off in frantic pace, with both teams settling their nerves early with fewer errors in the opening sets. After a scoreless 20 minutes of intense exchanges, Tigers got their noses in front 2-0 from a penalty.
But they've done really well to hold their line. Here's the kick from right in front.
Lahanis, sticking to their game plan and staying in the grind, finally troubled the scoreboard from a silky play by halfback Israel Balio near the Tigers' goal line to hit the front 4-2.
Across back towards that left side. Balio. Alrighty. It's a try this time. Referee confirms.
In the 32nd minute, Lahanis found themselves in good field territory, charging their arms on the right edge. This time, winger Tasi Kawage crossing to extend the lead 8-2.
Manu sent, but Lahanis now looking good with the ball over the top. It's a walk in the park for Tasi Kawage. Try time again.
3 minutes from half-time, Tigers finally got one back from the brilliance of their maestro number 7, Charlie Simon, sending middle forward Nick Aure to cut through Lahanis' defense to set up Robert Matthias to streak away for a brilliant try to equalize 8 apiece until half-time.
Charlie Simon, short pass, straight through his Matthias. Matthias is going to go all the way. The Tigers needed that. A great try scored there.
10 minutes into the second half, Lahanis visited the Tigers line again from a simple backline move, this time centre Mafu Ken crossing for a 12-8 lead. Young Tigers speed machine Dixon.
But this time they spread it quickly. They will score. Yes.
Young Tigers speed machine Dixon Otto, against a run of play, suddenly turned defense into attack from an intercept deep inside his own 10 before hitting the afterburners in a 90-meter dash to the Lahanis line for the equalizer 12-4.
Good play here from the Tigers on counter-attack, and it's Dixon Otto racing away over the halfway. The 40 spins his ears back and says, "See you later." The Tigers have struck back. Wow, just like that, the Tigers come roaring back. What a try.
Simon kicking prowess in general play resulted in Tigers centre Matthias claiming his second for an 18-12 scoreline, 8 minutes to go.
Simon just grubbers through, picked up by, oh my goodness. What a try. Like a thief in the night, Matthias is claiming a try from a nothing play.
Pressed for time with their fairy tale season on the line, Lahanis did not panic and stayed in the process, which eventually paid off big time with a classic try to veteran winger Amos.
Marker. Amos Kafari!
2 minutes before extra time expired, Lahanis number 6 Roger Kenny came up with the biggest play of his short career when he potted the decisive field goal to seal their grand final spot, much to the delight of their fans.
Back Thompson Taylor comes back now to Kenny! It's nailed it from right in front. It could be
Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
In regional sports, a Senate inquiry into the cancellation of the 2026 Victorian Commonwealth Games is underway in Melbourne.
Witnesses are gathered here in Melbourne today to answer questions in relation to the Victorian government's decision to pull the plug on hosting that 2026 Commonwealth Games. Now, it's arguably the most interesting leg of a federal Senate inquiry into Australia's preparedness to host sporting competitions. That was launched back in March, so prior to Premier Daniel Andrews' announcement here, but they did reopen submissions after the news broke. Now, the Commonwealth Games Australia is one of the key figures that has spoken already. They remained fairly tight-lipped on a lot of fronts, saying that they had to retain confidentiality around that $380 million settlement deal that was arrived at with the Victorian government. But they did throw into question some of the accuracy around some of the costings that the Andrews government has been talking about in recent months since they decided to pull out of hosting the Games. We also heard from the consultant group Ernst & Young, a couple of partners from that group. Now, they were involved in originally coming up with some of the estimates for how much it would cost to put on the Games, which was originally around $2.6 billion. And they were fairly tight-lipped as well, refusing to even answer questions about how much they were paid for their services.
So a senior, one of the big four, sitting here and saying you're not prepared to be public about what you were paid
under oath
to actually develop a business case that has seen Victorian taxpayers fork out hundreds of millions of dollars for a non-existent Commonwealth Games is an appalling disrespect to this committee but also Australian taxpayers, and I would say professional standards.
That's Senator Bridget McKenzie right there. As you can see, she's quite frustrated. That kind of confidentiality issue kept coming up again and again, and the panel did reiterate multiple times that the Senate does have powers to request information and documentation from witnesses unless there's a significant public interest reason as to why they can't provide that or why they need to retain that confidentiality. But Ernst & Young did at least acknowledge that they stand by their initial costing estimates of around $2.6 billion for the Games, but they also acknowledged that certain circumstances may have changed in the interim. So really a lot of question marks still remain around this, and hopefully we'll find out more as the inquiry continues.
And that ends the news this evening. Here's a look at the weather for the next 24 hours.
Momase, isolated showers and thunderstorms. Lae partly cloudy with few evening showers. Wewak and Vanimo partly cloudy with few afternoon showers. And Medan mostly fine.